what this actually looks like within an organization, whether you're working at one or you're leading one or you own one, is that you have to stop thinking in role-based thinking and start thinking in workflow-based thinking. So let's break this down tactically. For every hire that you're considering, you want to write down the 4 to 6 things or 8 things or 10 things that that person actually does with their hands and their eyes and like in their mouth, does stuff. All right. And then ask whether each of those activities could live inside of a workflow instead of headcount. And so the old thinking or the old paradigm is I need to hire an editor. The new thinking or paradigm is what are these 5 things an editor actually does that creates a video? And each one of those things should be a workflow. So let me just give you a visual to kind of drive this home. So let's say that you have an organization that looks like this, okay? Very simple. Each of these roles has tasks underneath of them, or at least they should, right? Of course, they should. But all of these is to organize humans, not to organize the inputs and outputs. Because in an organization, if we were to do something perfectly, we would have it much more like a manufacturing business. Now, what does that mean? Every business at its most basic level takes raw inputs, adds some special sauce, and then you get an output that's more valuable. And so in a service business, it means you take raw talent, you add training and skills, or you put multiple of these skills together that when those skills taken in aggregate are worth more than any of the individuals on their own, right? So if you've got somebody who knows how to write, somebody who's how to read, somebody who's how to record, somebody who's how to edit, put all that together, all of a sudden you have an advertising agency. And somebody else who can buy ads, great, you have an advertising agency, right? And so, but the thing is that this is our organizational structure is to organize communication between humans and hierarchy for decision making. But if you had the same rules from the beginning of how everything should be created, then all of these little dashes that I have underneath of here, which are the tasks that someone does, should just be organized in a linear fashion that then create an output. And so the key is not saying I'm gonna automate away this person. You just have to look at one layer underneath of that and say, what are the 10 things this person does? Let me see if I can just automate this one task and this next task. And if you are that person, if you're not automating your own job, you are missing the boat here. Like, I was talking to a good friend of mine who is a very good entrepreneur last night, and he spun up a division within his company, and the sole thesis or mission of that business is to put his much larger business out of business. And so if you're not thinking about that same level of like, okay, well, I'm going to take 20% of my time to try and put myself out of a job. Because the thing is if you don't adapt, you will eventually be out of a job. The question is whether you're going to be the one who controls that automation or somebody else will. And so let me talk about what the future of business is going to look like, at least in the medium term. The medium term is going to be BYOS. So what does that mean? It's going to be bring your own software, or BYOA, bring your own agent or agent.